you are?
Yeah. I'm the man.
What's up, everybody? And today we're taking a look at the Mezco 1989 Batman. But first, before we take a look at the figure, we gotta take a look at the packaging. Now, this is my first ever Mezco figure, so it's gonna be quite an interesting, kind of ride. Other thing to it is, recording this video, I currently have been drinking due to it being Thanksgiving. I have recorded this at the end of Thanksgiving dinner, so I'm hoping to get 2 videos out by the end of this week, but of course, unfortunately, of course, Thanksgiving happened, so there was no video for Wednesday, but there will be a video for Sunday no matter what, whether it be 1 or 2, so bear with me. I'm kind of having a slight hangover a little bit right now, but anyway, let's get back to the figure. So this is the box for the Mezco 1989 Batman, and I don't like DC. I really don't, but Michael Keaton's Batman is the shit. Batman is the shit, of course. So I had to have the best 6-inch scale because McFarlane likes to do 7 inches, and I want a 6-inch scale perfect Keaton Batman, and well, this is the best you're gonna get. But anyway, for the box, no rambling. Got a very nice spot varnished looking bat logo right in front there. Love the design of that. Got Batman at the bottom there. On the side here, you got Batman and the logo and whatnot. On the back here, you got a very nice look at what I believe is the actual figure with a spotlight there. And there's a bunch of different looks here of the figure on the bottom too as well. They really did capture this figure and character quite good. Nothing too much on the top, nothing too much on the bottom. So let's take a look at the figure. So take a look at the figure himself. No cape on, you saw he had the cape on in the beginning. The only reason I chose to do that is because inside the box, this is how you get him. He has no cape on, no nothing. So let's go over the details of the figure itself, and then we will take a look at the accessories, put the cape on, and then we'll go to the articulation and whatnot, and then do a pose test. So, for starters, this figure is interesting because, well, his full body is this rubber material, and it comes off as a little bit gray. I know there's fixes out there that can, make it look blacker and whatnot, but honestly, I'm not really worried about that. I'm not really going to do that because I don't want to degrade this rubber. They put a powder on it for a reason. The powder is supposed to preserve it, so I'm going to keep it as is. And it is fine to me. I'm perfectly okay with what it looks like. You may not be, but this is just my personal copy, so I don't want to really ruin it. And plus, I've been wanting this guy for a while. But right off the bat, it is a very nice figure. I've had it for a little while now. Been wanting to do a review of it, but of course, lots of other new things came out first, so I had to review those first. But now I can actually get to this figure, and I love it. It has problems, has its fair share of issues, but overall I do love it, and I do enjoy it for the most part. It is a very nice figure, in my opinion, and I think it does deserve recognition and whatnot. But anyway, the body is sculpted very nicely with this rubber and all that. It's a very, very, very squishy rubber. Every part's very, very squishy. They really honestly could have done the body a little bit better, especially when we get to the posing, because posing this guy is kind of a nightmare and kind of scary. But yeah, everything's sculpted pretty nicely. Expect nothing less from Mezco themselves. They do a very good job. They do they do great work. Sorry for the little jump cut there. I had to sneeze. Yeah, this is gonna be a bit of a messy review, but I'm trying to get back into it. It's kind of hard when you get off schedule, then you go back on schedule, and But yeah, the belt is sculpted pretty well. I love the yellow color of it there. Almost looks like there's a bit of a bend in mine. Is that a bend? I don't know what that is, but very nicely sculpted, and looks like those little portions there are painted in. Very nicely sculpted, boots and whatnot. They do kind of remind me of those Nike shoes that he was wearing in the movie, with this little added extra piece on top. It's very nicely done. And of course the bat symbol here is nicely done too as well. The gauntlets here are done very, very well. Even on the hands, they do have painted in and sculpted the little divots that he has, or rivets, or little dots that he has on his gloves. And then as for the face sculpt, that is a very Keaton-esque face sculpt, and it is done extremely well. A whole lot better than McFarlane. And I just love the nice yellow color there for the symbol. Cowl is very super smooth. This is a special cowl, but I will go over that in the accessory section. The cowl does lay pretty nice. Not so much when he has the cape on, but for the most part, it does lay pretty nice. So there's really not much to go over as far as the details go for him. So let's move straight into the accessories. When you do open this Batman, he comes absolutely loaded with accessories. As far as hands go, you do get the, of course, 2 fists that he comes packaged with. You do get these 2 kind of grip style hands. And you do get these kind of very specific gadget holding hands, which look very nice and have, cutouts inside the hand to kind of specify which gadget is supposed to be used. And then you do get these kind of open hands. I'm sure they might be for gadgets, but I'm not exactly 100% sure, but you do get those. And as for cowls, you of course do get this one, which does have a lever on the back, so you can move that and it will move the eyes, which is pretty cool. It's a nice looking kind of like cowl with a pretty cool, little feature, so you can have them looking whichever way you want. So he does in fact have that cowl there. Then you do just have a standard, staring straight forward cowl that doesn't have any eye rolling. It's just a standard looking cowl. Mine does have a paint error, which kind of sucks, but there's the standard cowl. And then you do get a kind of another standard cowl basically, but his mouth is a little bit more open. And then for the final cowl, almost much like the one we just took a look at, other than, a little bit more open, and there's blood on his face due to, battle damage. And I did, forget to mention, or was going to mention, that all these are just hung on by magnets, and they're super, super powerful magnets. They fit in very, very well, and they don't come off whatsoever. On for the accessories that he holds in his hands, you do get this batarang, which is sculpted and painted very nicely. You do get 4 of these, so there is that. And then you do get this very tiny little kind of thingy do. It's been a while since I've seen Batman 1989, so don't exactly remember what this was for, but you do get that as well. You do get a little shuriken kind of thingy too as well. Sculpted good, painted good, it's very tiny. You do also get this little thing, which, again, I forgot exactly what this is. It might be a door opener or some type of opener kind of thingy, but you do get that too as well. Sculpted and painted, very nice. Then you do get also the kind of grappling hook here, and you also get what looks like to be a folded up version too as well. So you do get both of those. They're sculpted very nice. They're just in solid black. Looks like there's a little bit of gold bits right there, but they're, pretty much, they're there. Then you do also get a grapple hook piece, which I'm pretty sure this is bendy wire. I will show how that fits in. And then, of course, you do just have like a hook piece too as well, painted very nicely, even at such a very small scale. And then basically how, that stuff works, you can just take this little hook piece, and it should just go right on in there. At least it should. Okay, it's not gonna go in, but it should. And oh, did I lose it? I think I just lost it. Oh, there it is. It should just go right on in, but I'm not sure why it doesn't want to. I don't know if there's excess plastic or whatnot, but it should just go in this little spot there. I don't want to force it. Okay, well, there it is. It should just go in there, but just be very careful because you might break it. Now, the same thing can be said for this piece. So this, you're just going to want to, of course, unwind out like so. And then, yeah, so it is a bendy wire. And then there's a portion in the back right here, which will just, again, peg in to the grapple gun, which that actually pegged in. So then now you have, it's not going to focus well, but now you have this piece attached to the grappling hook, and whoop, it fell off. But yeah, that's pretty much how you use that stuff. And then of course the grappling hook is best suited for this hand, so you can just slide it on in like so, and it's not going nowhere. So if you have this figure, definitely just use this hand for it, because it has the best grip possible to actually hold this thing. And then of course with the batarangs, they will just be held pretty much in this hand. Same thing with the little shuriken, same thing with the little thingy do, same thing with probably the little box thing too. Actually, I think there's actually a different hand that's better used for the little box. So you can use this hand for the box, or you can probably use the other kind of open grippy hand too, but that's pretty much how he is able to hold the box. It does also come with another kind of batarang with that same type of wired stuff as the grappling hook. Again, you could just use the kind of like slightly grippy hands for this. And another accessory comes with, man, this guy is just packed with everything, is this little kind of bat remote control. Has a very tiny Batman logo on it, super small. I believe it was used to call the Batmobile. The hands you're going to want to use this for is probably the little small grippy hand, because this thing is very small. Because you're going to have to like really get that in there. And that's pretty much how he holds it. It is super, super, super tiny. Be careful, do not lose it. Then one of the final accessories he has is this thing. I forgot what this was. I think it might be a dual grapple hook launcher thingy, but these parts do move outward, which is pretty cool. It's a very nice looking piece and accessory. Painted up super nicely, sculpted very well. How this pretty much works and everything is you kind of just clamp it. You clamp it to the arm here, which is what I'm guessing. So it should just clamp like right on. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to break it. Don't exactly know what part it's supposed to clamp on. Oops. I didn't break nothing. Did I break something? I hope not. I think it's just supposed to clamp on like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how it's supposed to go. Then, of course, just kind of holds it outwards. Interesting. I probably won't be using it, but it's a very nice little thing to have. Alright, so I already almost lost the little clear thing, if you guys remember me showing you that not that long ago in this video. So be very careful, because I almost lost my mind. Thank God I found it. But anyway, back to the accessories. It does also come included with a stand, which is very nice to have. And the stand also has this kind of claw arm, which is multi-segmented, which is very nice. I forgot that Mezco figures do come with stands. It's a very nice looking stand, of course. Really do like it, but I probably won't be using it much because he won't be getting into too many dynamic poses. But it just kind of pegs right into the foot there, and you pretty much have him on the stand. It works out pretty well. He's a little off-centered, which is a little bit strange. Maybe they should have brought it a little bit more in, so he was more, in the middle of the stand. But so it looks pretty good. The stand itself isn't exactly the 1989 logo, but it'll do. And of course, you do get also a little baggie in the back here to put all of your, accessories into. I won't be using it since everything will just be packed away inside the box. Now for the last accessories, you do get two capes. One's a drape cape, which I have still in the wrapper here, because it is just a drape cape. There's no wiring or anything in it. And both capes are made of the same material. And then you do get a wired cape, which is my preferred cape because I like wired capes. It has a very nice kind of leathery leather kind of feel to it. The inside has a suede kind of feel. So it's a very nice hefty cape here. It has this little plastic ring on the top. And you do have a wire running across this seam right here, this seam right here, and then this seam right here. It's pretty much every other seam. It's a very nice cape, although the problem with this figure is putting on the cape is a nightmare. So I'm going to show you an easy way. Sorry, I just bumped my camera. Basically what you're going to do is kind of turn the cape part inside out and kind of pinch it. Make sure you find your opening so that this part right here should be in the front. Just kind of want to pinch it, and then come to the figure here, take the head off, and keeping it pinched, you want to place the cape part in like so, like that. Then what you're going to do is then try your best to splay the cape out, and then what it should kind of look like is, what you want to do is get this lip kind of aligned, but also kind of stretching this fabric, because there's a lot of excess fabric that keeps this thing from being plugged in. So it should be nice and flush, kind of like that. It's not going to be 100% flush, but as long as you can get it as flush as possible, and then bringing in the head, and then it should just magnetize everything down, and then you should have a semi-decent placed cape. It is not easy. Mine still even is a little bit off, but with the cape on, it lifts the cowl up a bit. But they could have done something better with the cape system. Maybe not have interchangeable capes and just have it, built in to the suit, and then have, the magnetic heads. But that is pretty much how you use the capes. And yeah, I mean, it's a nice looking cape. It's not terrible. You do, of course, have, bendy wire in this one, so you can, bend it all the way around and whatnot. And let's do a full-on cape splay out if we can. This thing is kind of heavy. It doesn't want to hold its position. Yeah, it does not want to hold its position, but get a very decently sized cape. Oh, that's not good. But yeah, it's a pretty good cape. There's nothing really too much to go on about it, other than wish the connection was better. Could have used more wires, because it just flails out like this, without you really messing with it. The inclusion of just a drape cape is nice. That would be a nice thing if this thing would drape properly like a drape cape would. So that's why I'm not using the drape cape, because this is what would happen. It would just stay like this. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the accessories. Now, I did kind of just change my mind. I am going to show the drape cape, so I will, I'll get the drape cape out and show you guys how that cape pretty much fits onto this figure and how the drape cape looks and works. So, kind of getting raw footage of me pulling out the drape cape here. But, there we go. So here's the drape cape. And I will actually, show the drape cape, I guess. Might as well. Both capes are pretty big. So we'll just take this head off here. We'll remove the wired cape. And then as for the drape cape, pretty much you're going to attach it the same way as you would with the normal cape. Just make sure it gets on in there, like so. And it should just get right on if it wants to. Sometimes it does not want to. And then that's when we have a really huge problem. So fit. Gotta make sure you get all of this excess material on the inside out of the way. Would have been really nice if they didn't have so much material in this thing, or if they maybe did it a slightly different way than with what they did, because what they did is kind of a pain, an actual pain, just to get this cape lined up and on. And there we go. And that's pretty much the drape cape on. Yeah, it's really not that good. Because for one, there's no wires in it, so you can't pose it. And for two, it looks like a poncho. Because these scoots and stuff like that, or whatever they're called, the scallops on the actual thing, they aren't, I don't know how to say it. This cape does not drape. For a drape cape, it really does not drape, because it should look like this almost, but it just flails out, and that's why I just don't like it. It's just not a good looking cape. But now that's all for the accessories. So it does come with a lot, and I do appreciate the amount of accessories he actually does come with. Now time for the articulation. So when it comes to the articulation, how we're going to do this is I'm actually going to take the cape off just to kind of showcase the articulation. So I will just go ahead and just do that now. It'll just make it a lot easier to really show off the articulation. So starting off, of course, with the head, there's nothing at the head at all. You can count maybe some of this, but that's mainly you just moving it around on the magnets. I wouldn't recommend twisting it. If you want to move it around, you can if you really want to, but this Batman never really did that. That's why you have this head if you want to have him looking different ways, of course. So you do have the side eye, effect with this specific head, at least. Because the cowl was so thick in the movies that Michael Keaton couldn't actually turn his head all that well. Love the attention to detail and accuracy. McFarlane, you should have done for your Keaton Batman figures just a solid piece, because it's more accurate. But anyway, back to the articulation itself. As for the arms, they can go up. I would probably put it at about maybe that far. Even then, that's a little stressing the rubber body just a little bit. I will actually take the head off too. I'd probably go about that far to be safe. And then forward, I'd say about that far. So that's pretty decent. Still kind of stretching on maybe some of the rubber. And then backwards, of course, probably about that far. Now you do just want to be careful just because this is a rubber body here. And did I actually, hold on, I need to see here. Yeah, it looks like my rubber's splitting a little bit. That is not fun at all. Okay, back to it. There is a little bit of bicep swivel there. You got pretty much a 90-degree bend. That's as far as I'm willing to go. And of course there is a kind of wrist rotation there. Fists are on a hinge and, you know, swivel, kind of like an SH figure where it's figure. So those are pretty dang similar. Oof. Yeah, moving this body around is really scary. That's why I'm going to have him mainly in museum poses. Nothing too crazy, but I will do some crazy things for the pose test. As for the torso, he can crunch forward about that far, I'd say. And then crunching backwards, it goes pretty much about that far, or as far as I'm willing to go. I don't think there's any waist swivel at all. As the legs, they can split out pretty decently far, but be careful of the rubber. And then the legs kind of go out in a weird way, so they go forward about that far, and then moving it back, they don't really go back all that much at all. And then there is, I don't think there is a thigh swivel on this thing. He does have a double jointed knee that goes about that far as I'm willing to go. There is a, you know, kind of boot cut right there. And then his foot can go down about that far, up about that far, and there is some slight tilt to it. I believe it is on a ball joint. But that is as far as I'm willing to go on this body, just because of the simple fact that the rubber on this thing is very, very limited. But without further ado, that is pretty much the articulation with this body. You can go a lot further if you want to. I don't recommend it. These figures are not cheap. They aren't just your run-of-the-mill $25 Marvel Legends figure. These things are like hundreds of dollars. So, you know, with all that articulation out of the way, let's do a post test. I hope you guys enjoyed that pose test. Unfortunately, I did not. Can anyone take a guess as to why I did not enjoy that pose test? I'll give you a couple of seconds. Okay, I'm just gonna come out just right straight out and tell you why I did not enjoy that pose test. Because my figure actually broke. I know, that's right, it broke. You can just see right here, I'll show you why. So by lifting this cape around to the back, nice sturdy arm, right? Very loose broken, wobbly arm, and you can stretch it out and everything. It is broken in there. I can still kind of pose it. You know, you can still use like the elbow joint and everything, but there is no more of that, you know, wrist kind of elbow rotation anymore in it. And of course it had to be in the right arm, the arm I use the most on my action figures. I've had this figure for a decent amount of time. I got it off Mercari. It was brand new in box, so it wasn't a used copy. It was pretty much brand new. I think Mezco should just not do these silicone bodies anymore, because I was doing a bunch of research too as well. And apparently this is not a uncommon issue. Apparently this is something that happens to a lot of people who have this figure. And unfortunately, it happened to me, which really sucks, because at this scale, at this kind of 6-inch scale, this is the best you're going to get for a Michael Keaton Batman. And unfortunately, this rubber body really sucks. So now I have to deal with a broken figure. It's still kind of functional, but it is broken. And it's going to be a pain to deal with when posing, but I mean, I guess I really won't be doing that much posing with this figure anyway. So, I mean, that's fine, since you can't exactly really pose. So this review is as much of posing as this figure is really going to get. But anyway, let's take a look at the scale. You know, besides my little breakage incident, let's see how well he stacks up against some other, you know, 6-inch scale figures. So first off, I am going to show him next to a Marvel Legends Tobey Maguire figure, just to show you pretty much the scale you're looking at here. It is roughly about 6 inches. Pretty close to 6 inches. I think it might be a little bit taller. Again, I also think maybe this Tobey's a little bit small. But yeah, that's pretty much how he looks next to a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man there. And then as for another Spider-Man, you know, kind of, oh fuck, yeah, I don't want to break it again. Oh my god. Anyway, next to another Tobey Maguire figure, if it wants to stand. Oh my god. Yeah, just lots of problems today. Lots and lots of problems. So, let me just, come on, stand. Okay, there we go. And there he is next to a SH Figure Arts custom black suit Spider-Man. Just, you know, get that black theme going. So that's how he looks next to a Figure Arts figure. And then, of course, we gotta put him up next to a Todd McFarlane, McFarlane Toys Batman. Of course, with the Batman TV show, Adam West. As you can see, yeah, much shorter than a McFarlane figure. I definitely prefer the size of the Keaton one next to the Adam West, but that's the only, you know, good Adam West action figure out there right now. So that's pretty much how he looks next to that. And then for a final comparison, here he is next to the arguably really, really good Lego Keaton Batman. And so that's pretty much how he looks next to that. Now, unfortunately, I would recommend to buy this figure, but do so at your own risk. Clearly, because now mine broke. I thought it was just a closed issue with some people having it and most people not having it, but it seems like it's an issue that you will run into, because I saw a picture of the metal endoskeleton and someone talk about the metal endoskeleton, and it really sucks. So, unfortunately, it happened to me. But anyway, let's take a look at my final thoughts, since, you know, all of the scale is out of the way and whatnot. This one is, it was going to be very positive, but now it's going to be a little bit more negative. So, my final thoughts on this figure, it's going to be pretty mixed. I love the cape, at least the wired one. I love the materials on the cape. I love the head sculpts. I love the accessories. I think the hands are pretty cool. I love that it comes with a stand. Although the stand, I really do wish that the logo looked a little bit closer to the 1989 logo. But it's fine. The rubber body it's cool, but the powder on it definitely makes it look a little gray and not black. I absolutely do love the rolling eyes head sculpt. I think that's the best out of, the lot of the heads. But here's my issue. The body itself. While I think the silicone body was a neat idea, it does not really work in execution at all. They definitely could have done a whole hell of a lot better. That endoskeleton is absolutely atrocious. I cannot believe it broke on me. I didn't even move the figure all that much, and it just broke on me, which is crazy. Oh, man. I mean, I could still move the arm and stuff like that. It's just much more of a task to actually move it. The articulation is very limited on this figure, which kind of sucks. But then again, I still do like this figure. Even though it has horrible issues, I still really love this figure. But that's it for this review. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Also, don't forget to follow the Insta